Governor Abbott is not happy. It's December 11th, 2024, and these are your headlines. Governor Greg Abbott has rebuked a text message campaign that falsely implied his support for State Representative Dustin Burrows in the race for Speaker of the House. After losing the Republican caucus nomination on Saturday to Representative David Cook, Burrows has now been seeking support from Democrats and a small faction of Republicans in order to secure the gavel in January. The controversy stems from a text message that was sent out by the American Opportunity PAC, which featured an image of Governor Abbott alongside Dustin Burrows with the caption, "Support Burrows." Well, Abbott quickly distanced himself from the campaign. State Representative Steve Toth flagged the text as false in a post on X, calling it more deception from Team Burrows. The governor replied directly, clarifying his position, and said, "To be clear, that text with my picture was issued without my authorization or even knowing about it." And he went on to say, "My focus is singular, work with both House and Senate leaders to pass the conservative agenda that I campaigned on and that voters expect." So who's the American Opportunity PAC? Well, it surfaced only weeks ago. It's yet to disclose any donors on filings. However, filings with the Texas Ethics Commission show that its treasurer was appointed by political consultant Mitch Carney. The son of Abbott's chief political advisor, Dave Carney, Mitch served as a senior advisor to Abbott's 2022 re-election campaign. His involvement has drawn scrutiny, particularly given his previous criticism of President Donald Trump, who he once called a joke. Meanwhile, according to a constituent email that was posted to social media, Democrat State Representative Donna Howard, who represents Austin, has offered her endorsement to Burrows, a preliminary endorsement. Her name had previously appeared on the list of supporters released by Burrows. However, according to this email, which was written by Howard's legislative director, quote, "Representative Howard is proud of the legislature's longstanding tradition of allowing members of the minority party to hold chairmanships." Sounds like Representative Burrows is making some promises to Democrats in order to gain their support. A University of Houston professor that warned that Texas's energy grid is more vulnerable now than it was during the rolling blackouts induced by the winter storm in February of 2021, Ed Heers, an inaugural energy fellow at U of H, is explaining in a report for Forbes that despite spending billions of dollars making changes, Texas has still not yet fixed its grid. He said in 2002, Texas dispensed with a reliable end-to-end electricity supply chain that the consumer could count on in the heat of summer and cold of winter. He went on to say that it's been replaced by a 100% government-operated grid under which consumers pay more, get less, and no one can be held accountable. So the Electric Reliability Council of Texas recently projected that there's an 80% likelihood of rolling blackouts if a storm the size of Winter Storm Uri were to hit the state this winter. He said a weaker storm, equivalent to 2022's Winter Storm Elliott, has a 50% probability of triggering rolling blackouts, and there's no assurance that rolling blackouts can be executed, risking a wide-scale grid failure. Hers argued that by ERCOT's own projections, the grid is now less stable than it was 3 years ago, while Texans are still shouldering the increasing costs of electricity.
America is at a crossroads. Now, more than ever, Texas must step up and lead the country. We don't have time to mess around. The only way to save America is with a strong Texas. You and I know this, but so do the enemies of life and liberty. Therefore, you and I have no choice but to stand up and fight. I'm Sarah Gonzalez, and to the enemies of liberty, I say, come and take it.
A federal judge has blocked a Biden-Harris administration rule that required health insurance coverage for those brought across the border illegally as children. Texas and 18 other Republican-led states sued the federal government over the rule, which allowed DACA recipients to enroll in a federally run health insurance plan under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. DACA, too, is an Obama-era program that delays the deportation of those who arrived in the U.S. illegally as minors. The 19 states argued that the Biden rule encouraged illegal aliens to remain in the country and forces legal citizens to contribute funds for their health care. Well, on Monday, U.S. District Judge Daniel Traynor agreed with the states and halted the rule, citing federal law that prohibits giving public benefits to those who are not legal citizens. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach, who spearheaded the lawsuit, called the decision a big win for the rule of law. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.